Hi everyone, I'm Monica Mazzolani of MTA office. MTA is an associate studio that Antonio Troisi and I founded after the death of Giancarlo De Carlo, with whom we have been associated since 2000 and with whom we began working in kindergarten and nursery school. By winning a competition in Ravenna, the school was completed in 2008 and we experiment a series of solutions with the valuable opportunity to evaluate the educational impact. Today, we'll explore the design of learning spaces through the lens of meta-design approach. That means, in this case, considering not only the immediate functionality and aesthetics of a space, but the translation of a pedagogical model and a concept into a physical space. The meta-design approach facilitates this translation process through the utilization of a range of pre-designed tools and research processes. Our work began with the meeting with one of the educators of Reggio Children, who's introduced us to educational principles of Loris Maraguzzi, and the concept that in the education of children, space is the third educator, where the first educators are children itself, and then comes the parents and the educators. And then the space as a role, as a very important role. It is important to create different qualities and proportion for each space. And this is why we adopted a roof like a soft blanket lying on the perimeter of walls, swelling in the common spaces such as piazza and going down to define the classes as a more intimate and reassuring spaces. We try to understand through the eyes of the educators the way in which space could help children to improve their autonomy and facilitate the educators' work. For example, we work with educators to establish a correspondence between the size of the space and the quality of the experiences that children can do within it. Let me explain better what I mean. Usually in the school building, as usual, in the classroom, children experience a compression of energy to pay attention and to keep the concentration when they are in class. But when they release, the corridor is the place of free reign and expansion of energy that is mostly out of control. Designing sequences of spaces that help us to spend energy in a controlled way is one of the tasks that set ourselves. The metaphor of the city is very helpful. The city with its variety of spaces and situation is very, very helpful. The definition of spatial units, like in a city, include the main function and is one of the first objectives to be defined. The basic group of almost 20 children includes the classrooms, the bathrooms, the changing rooms, and the workshops that we will call atelier. These small group activities are the reference for the unit. They allow small groups to identify with a physical place where they can leave their objects and from there leave to explore outer spaces and meet other children. The flexibility given by the sliding panels that are closing each classroom allows the classrooms to open up if necessary, toward the square, which is the meeting place for everyone. The special units serve as a fixed element that offer stable framework with which educational activities can unfold, while they can be scaled and replicated in various contexts, maintaining their specific characteristics. They can provide consistency to the learning environment. In fact, same configuration of aggregation of spatial units can be experimented, and we did it in the Villa Marina school, which is bigger than the one in Ravenna. The school is in Cesenatico. It includes even a primary school, and that demonstrates that the model can also work with a greater number of classes. We also operate as a consultant for preschool nursery schools, which follow different teaching criteria due to the experimentation of different educators. First, we establish a relationship with educators And then we decide together with them the spatial implication of the layout. Where spaces already exist, it is possible to operate only through internal furnishings and partitions. One of the principles on which educators agree is the educational continuity between nursery school and kindergarten, what in Italy is called the 0-6 space. But the legal requirements in Italy are different and the structural criteria are not harmonized. While waiting for a single definition of standards to be reached, one of the most functional criteria to adopt is the flexibility that allows the number of children to vary as needs change. Sliding walls, soft partition are the key elements that helps to solve the problem. In the 0-6 center managed by one of our clients, which is Dia Cooperativa, the sequence of educational spaces is designed in a flexible way, while sliding walls that allows the boundary between nursery and the kindergarten to be moved depending on the number of children. Following a meta-design approach offers the opportunity to accommodate different educational needs. This flexibility allows for the customization of rooms, configuration, furniture arrangements, and specific learning zones to align with the specific teaching criteria and adapt to evolving educational practices. By using meta-design tools, we can continuously improve and adjust elements based on feedback, research insight, and emerging educational trends. This helps ensure that the learning environment stays dynamic and supportive of evolving teaching methods, ultimately enhancing overall educational experience for the students and for the children, of course. One of the key concepts having an impact on the organization of space is, in similar in nursery school and kindergarten, the encouragement to children to achieve a greater autonomy for themselves. The furnishings for this space are designed to be used in different ways with different proposals. Depending on the activities in the cloud table that we design, multiple relationships are established in different actions can take place, can be used for eating, for playing, for drawing, and the position it assumes allows act in small groups or a bit bigger ones in different sizes. Like the pavilion, a small theater which suggests different actions and offers to the children interesting setting for the games that they can invent, but even for sleeping if needed. The most iconic element of the nursery is the atelier, design session where children reproduce vegetables, objects, plants, flowers, still life pictures, and they put them on the lighting table, project their shapes all around, or reproduce it. They can even take pictures because they had a camera, even if they are very small. Through pictures and video, they can work in combination between analogic and digital languages. Other ways is to experiment with shapes by cataloging materials and put it on the shelf like in a small museum, and the catalog is made by shapes, finishing, colors. Children can compose them even on the lighting table and they can project the shadows on the room. Or they can act in the dark atelier playing with the light projection. What is always important to consider is that, as a poem by Loris Malaguzzi stated, children express themselves through 100 different languages, and that cultivating them as an art form helps to retain the languages without losing them as they grow up.